Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Helldivers 2 just dropped a massive anniversary update, and it came with a ton of hidden buffs that made so many more things feel good and way more viable. But the biggest standout for me is the hidden changes and the implications they have for some of the future things that we're going to see in the game. So I'll be breaking down the entire thing and everything that I just found on stream with my first reactions to all of it. So lighting this off, we obviously have to start by talking about the biggest and most important hidden change, and that's the addition of the shovel. You can find this at a bunch of different points of interest, usually the ones with dead soldiers, like think the usual like gravesite with the guy sitting there, then the shovel has the bot's head cut off. That's where you could think it would usually be, but it also spawns at like bunkers and a bunch of just random POIs. So I think more than anything, when we found out this thing was interactable, everyone was just excited that we could finally live out our Kriegsman dreams. Dude, they actually added a shovel. Can you inspect? Oh my goodness, look at it. So if you aim in, you can do like a thrust. And if you don't aim in, you just slap them up. This thing also has a special flare when you aim in, so you have a chance to give it a little twirl. And it's small details like this that made me fall in love with Helldivers 2 in the first place. So whoever made this, whoever designed it, is a true hero of Super Earth. The hidden changes don't just stop at the shovel, though. We also had the re-addition of a bug point of interest. The level 3 large nets that came with 1 to 3 Bile Titans or 4 to 8 chargers, depending on the seed, have finally been re-added. These were removed in like late March, early April last year. But this time around, they've had a massive change to also have a huge bug hole in them that Bile Titans can spawn out of. Just don't stand on top of it when it breaks. One massive thing to note for this is that I've been tracking spawn seeds since the very first patch, and it included eggs with green bile and nurse variants. That was removed along with those level 3 POIs, but since they're back in the game, so are these spawn seeds, which means that retroactively the hunter seed will have some sort of weight on other missions properly again. So again, more enemy variants, more spawn seeds that we can think about looking out for. And I think this has me more excited than anything else that they added today because of the implications it has for missions later on. I do still think this should be always shown in the game, like spawn seeds and constellations shouldn't be hidden. You shouldn't have to rely on an exterior guide. And I did do a small update to my spawn seed guide, so you can already find this in my Discord, where all of my text guides are always updated before I make videos about them. Just make sure that you read the welcome channel and select a role, or you just won't be able to see anything. I also did notice a pretty good increase in spawns for the bugs on the missions we did play, so I'm really excited to get some good kill farms in and see what kind of numbers we could put up. One of the other massive hidden changes that made its way back into the game is you could just go flying, like soaring through the air when you get ragdolled. So it's funny, but like I wish it wasn't back. Oh my god. Okay, they might have brought some ragdolling back, guys. Now, finally, for the last hidden change that I think is really important to talk about, it's to the primary torture and the actual flamethrower. The buffs from the sterilizer bled over onto these, and it just, the fluidity and handling is just way better across the board. So those are the hidden changes that I think are the most important to talk about because they are going to change the way we play the game pretty drastically. And if you did find any other hidden changes, just let me know down in the comments and I'll go check them out. But right now we're going to break down the actual patch notes and a lot of the cool stuff that I just wasn't expecting them to do. So gas status effects have been increased from spray weapons from 6 to 10 seconds. That was for the gas dog and the sterilizer. And then this dropship wreckage from the Illuminate, this was actually like affecting the automaton dropships as well when we dropped in on that. So everything just despawns a lot faster, and that's really good because that means that they addressed something to do with the bot crashing, which we'll talk about again in a second. They also made it so that we can run when we're carrying stuff like the artillery rounds. We're just going to eat them anyways, but I guess that's kind of a nice quality of life for people who don't want to like spam throw them. And then the FRV, the big change here was a better driving experience when cornering, but I think overall the FRV just feels more weighty and it doesn't feel like I'm driving on like ice anymore. And then we could also throw grenades and stratagems out of the side of it, which is cool. You do have to like hold the button to like lean out of the door to throw it. But the FRV still has, it's not FRV problems. I think it might just be skill issue problems.
Oh my god. There's no way.
So sidearms also got some buffs. And then when we start talking about the sterilizer, this is what bled over into the flamethrowers. So they had their fluidity and handling buffed. And then when I was using the sterilizer, I didn't really care for the like increase on its duration of damage. It does make it feel better to use, but I just don't think a sterilizer is a weapon for me because I just don't really enjoy using it. But for anybody that actually did like using the sterilizer, that's a pretty drastic buff because that's 4 extra seconds of damage. Now, I think that one of the biggest W's is seeing that the devs are still in the like fun mindset for the game more than anything. And this siege ready armor passive, which gave us extra magazines on things like our like stalwarts, machine guns, whatever, they decided to not fix that, right? They know they said it was a bug and they were going to fix it, but then they were like, with the feedback, it's okay. So I think that this is actually good for the long-term health of the game. And of course, they said if there's any unforeseen bugs, then they will have to fix whatever. But for now, I'm just happy that they decided to keep this in because it didn't really drastically affect the game. And it just made people happy if they wanted to use the Siege Ready passive. So that's really good on them. Backpack wise, this gas dog buff is probably the most surprising thing for me because I love when a stratagems that literally just completely worthless actually becomes useful. We used these a couple of times. It really gave them stress test before it got buffed, and I just wasn't feeling it. But some of these buffs really made it feel like worthwhile to use. It had its targeting completely reworked, and then with both of these changes, like so the targeting's better, and then on top of that, it prioritizes enemies that are not affected by gas, which means you just see this thing going around everywhere, just gassing everything, turning it into like a real brawl in front of you, and it keeps the enemies off you, and it feels really good. I had a couple weird things with the range on it, but it doesn't just fly off into the distance anymore and you never see it again. So that feels great. And then it also had its gas duration increased to 10 seconds. So I think that getting a backpack option that nobody ever thought was going to be useful at all actually feel good to play with is really fun. Like it's actually like, I didn't think that they could make it good, but I could actually see me like using it now. It's actually like solid. It's like pretty good. And it seems to have like quite a bit of ammo. I think with gas lasting 10 seconds is a lot better. Hey, that's pretty good. That's what I mean. Like, dude, I have this armada in front of me and nothing's hitting me. The dog is just handling it, dude. Big ups on the gas dog. And probably the most ridiculous buff of this update is 2-minute mine cooldowns. Don't mine expansion has been something that we did the very first day Super Helldive came out, and it was one of the most ridiculous games that I've ever played. And then we immediately loaded in and did domains on bots where everybody brings them. We cast over 200 stratagems. We had thousands of mines out throughout the course of this game. And I will say that the anti-personnel minefield, this damage increase is ridiculously good. It kills pretty much everything. And with a 20% extra like spread on the mines, they don't chain into each other that much anymore. They still do stack up on walls sometimes. But this was a really massive change and it feels really good. So AP mines are solid. And then the anti-tank mines were already really, really good. So them being down to 2 minutes just made them way more viable. The ballistic shield also blocks melee attacks now. So that felt pretty good. And when we dropped into what was supposed to be the hunter seat, we got them on biles. So like it was something to say the least. I still think that this thing needs its cooldown reduced because it does break like ridiculously fast, but is what it is. The main thing that I wanted to talk about was when we were playing that bot game, we actually killed a lot of bots. So what happens when the bots crash is that your VRAM gets maxed out because all the smoke and fire from the drop ships and like all the different things blowing up didn't despawn correctly. Now it does. And the game was getting pretty laggy, but we also had thousands of mines out just scattered everywhere. Like they were despawning and kind of invisible, but you could still blow them up. And that's one of the fixes in crashes, hangs, and soft locks. So we are going to try and push a bot game to its absolute limit. And we're going to see how much we can do and how much we can kill before we can make it crash, if we can. I genuinely do hope they fix a bot crash so that we can do like a crazy kill farm and put up some big numbers on it because that'd be ridiculously fun. But I think in general, like, them actually starting to look at things like this is a really good sign because it has been like 5 or 6 months at this point. So health packs on the floor also recover all your stims now, which is just good because that sucked that it didn't. And then a little bit lower down here somewhere in this block of text is that like when you have a supply backpack, you can actually like dap people up and give them stims again. So that's really good. And then hell bombs will now detonate spawned hell bombs on the map. So like sometimes you would blow them up. Is what it is. Matchmaking changes were like, okay, really don't know a lot about that yet. Let me know if this actually fixed anything because I just usually host all the games and invite people from chat. So is what it is. And then a couple other weird weapon stratagems and fixes. Right now, there's the supply backpack thing. And then the FRV, there's more of these FRV changes we talked about and showed a couple of them already. The ejection into space, I wish they would have kept that in. I know some people don't like it, and I didn't have this happen today when I called a few in, but them not getting dropped on rooftops is just going to make them feel way better to use across the board. And then there were some other miscellaneous fixes that I read through that nothing really like super important here. But as we scroll up, we also have the new Warbond. So I'm just going to put in my first reaction to the trailer, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Oh, he's got the face on him. Oh, that's loud. That's cool. What is that? Double-edged sickle? Ultimatum? Was that a mini nuke? Special throwable seeker? What? Portable hellball? No way! I'm not. You know what to do! Hey, no, this shit is crazy. What the fuck? So I think the most exciting thing for me is going to be the Hellbomb backpack. This is just going to be cool. Like, you know, if you've watched me play with the disposables build, that this is the most ridiculous, chaotic thing that you could possibly equip. So I'm probably going to use this every game because it's really silly. The new double-edged sickle, I think that this is going to be like a pretty interesting weapon that you could just kind of spray down forever. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to use. I'm not sure how effective it'll be, but apparently it's supposed to like do damage to you when it heats up more, from what people were saying in chat. And I think that maybe if it's burn damage, we could just wear fire resistance armor and just keep blasting. So we'll see how that goes. Next thing was these little grenades things that like fly towards targets that we saw in the trailer, just like zoomed up and killed a shrieker. I think these are going to be a lot of fun. I'm really interested to see like what's going to happen when you have 4 people at these and they throw all of them at the same time and you see like an army of drone grenades fly forward. That's one thing I'm really excited to see. The new armor looks really cool. There's also this grenade pistol thing, well, orbital precision strike pistol that you can just blast with, which is going to be ridiculous. I think you'll see probably most people use this thing because it's just stupid and fun. And there's like martyrdom grenade armor. So I think that like overall, the Servants of Freedom Warbond is going to be one of the most fun. A raised weapon emote. Hopefully you actually raise your weapon in the air. That would actually be sick. But let me know what you guys are thinking about the Warbond, the patch. Basically, all your feelings, a vibe on it. I'm feeling it. I think that overall, I'm just pretty happy with everything across the board. But that's going to be all for now. I wish you guys the best luck out there.